All right, we are live. Hey, what's up? Welcome back, everyone, to the Hustle Science Experiment. My name is Elias Benjaloon, and today I'm really excited to be joined by Chen Levanon. She's an experienced co-founder with an impressive track record in the tech industry. She's working on her fourth startup venture, multiple exits already in her under her belt. She's a passionate mentor and member of our community. So, Chen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. This is amazing, super exciting.
Awesome. I'm excited as well. And folks, you know the drill. If you're watching, please give us a like, a comment. Let us know if you have questions. Today, for our business lesson, we're going to be talking about the importance of hiring the best employees. And for our life lesson, we're going to talk about not stopping at no. But before we do that, Chen, could you give us a little bit about your background, where you're from, and how you've come to be this outstanding entrepreneur?
Yeah, sure. So I am originally from Israel. So I'm an immigrant that actually became citizens last week.
You said
Super
last week?
proud. Yes, so last
Congratulations. That's
Friday.
major. That's
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you. And the reason that I mention it because I think that it's because a lot of hustling. I used to be a runner. I used to be a professional athlete. I got sports scholarship to become, and then I came to the States, ran for the school, graduated in 3 years instead of four. Was an investment banker in the Wall Street for a few years before 2008. Then worked in an income producing real estate company for 4 years and learned from a CEO how to actually manage a lot of employees in a publicly traded company and how to raise capital in the stock market. And in 2012, I started my first company. I wasn't planning on being an entrepreneur. I was approached by four founders that they gave me a chance. Thought that I'll be in corporate all my life. Loved it. Loved the salary. Loved to be in very comfortable situation. But it turned out that I'm an entrepreneur at heart. And I started ClicksMob. It was a mobile advertising space. Was kind of all the banners and the downloads back then in 2012, 2013. We were kind of pioneer in this field. I had the best employees, and we will talk about it later. 2017, it was sold to a publicly traded company in London. Then I joined an amazing technology, Similar Tech, and I became the founder and the CEO there. And we opened off it was competitive intelligence tools. It's kind of boring, so I don't think we need to elaborate on that. But it's super super smart machine learning technology. We worked with all the corporate around the world, Google, Microsoft, PayPal, you name it. And it was sold to SimilarWeb before its IPO last a year and a half ago. Worked on another project, closed that, and now I'm working on a new project. It's still in stealth mode, but basically it's one of my passion in life. It's to teach and educate Gen Z, to teach teenagers how to build businesses, get paid, and manage a business from the early age of 13 and provide them this technology. Moved from California to Las Vegas a few years ago. I have four young kids. Super happy here. And I'm happy that I was introduced to you and that we're both local.
Yeah, likewise. Definitely really awesome background in, marketing tech and biz tech. And I definitely, will keep that in mind to, possibly pick your brain at future events or encounters. I see you on that kind of stuff. I'm so appreciative of the shared passion of pouring back into our youth. And, we appreciate your support, with our Startup Kids Camp that's happening later this month. Where we're going to be, empowering young teenagers to start their own business. So that's really exciting we get to work on that together. The business lesson moving into that today is about hiring the best employees around you. That's what, and it's kind of straightforward at the surface level. I'd love for you to open it up some more, talk about it some more, and then I have some questions about
Yeah.
that, because I have a different experience, and I love your input on that.
So actually, it's a funny story how it all began. Okay,
Mhm.
as an investment banker in the Wall Street, and I graduated from private university, so it's very clear path.
Okay.
Investment banking back then, again, I have no idea how it's going, how it's happening today, but I'm talking about '06, '05, '06. And they invited to an interview only private school graduates, and they didn't care if they took economics or business or math or whatever. They could be English, literature, history, whatever, as long as the interview process show that the employee think and they have creative thinking. So I
Okay.
decided to do the same thing when I built, because this
Oh,
is what I
good.
know that it worked there. Why it cannot work in this startup? Now
Yeah.
I'm talking about 2012. Nobody did that. I even in Israel back then we had a lot of colleges and university, and I'm not saying that this is the right approach, because I learned that even employees at the end, my best employees are the one that without degree. Okay,
Hmm.
especially the engineers without degree. But in 2012, I only interviewed employees with degree from university, not even colleges.
Okay.
There is a difference in Israel.
Yeah.
Anyway, and the way that I interviewed them, I didn't care if they took history, if they're major in different things. I didn't
Mhm.
care. No experience. But in the interview process, I copied the process from investment banking. I wanted to see how they think. Even if you ask, how much is 327 times 237, but say it out loud, and then I see how you think and solve it.
Mm.
And then I ask questions like, tell me a story how you turned a no to a yes. So I cared about more about their personal experience and things like that. And this is how I hired. It was a success. Elias, I'm telling you, it was a success. I had the best employees. It turned out that 70% of my employees were women, 90% of my
Oh,
management
that's
were
awesome.
women. I had so many fights with other founders because I was the only female founders, which I'm okay with. I have three brothers. I'm used to it. I don't even complain about it. But I had so many arguments that they were like, but you're hiring so many women, they will get married and will get pregnant, and why? And I really had a lot of arguments back in 2012, 2013. It turned out that I didn't have turnover. They stayed with me at least 3 years. After 3 years they started to leave, but not my management. Until now I've been in touch with them. They're all C-level or VP or even CEO or founders themselves. Super proud of them. And at the end of the day, they shaped me. They shaped my personality, my business personality. They're the reason who I became like that because of them.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. First off, it's terrible that you had to even fight that, in
Yeah.
the 21st
Yeah, but now
century.
it's
Uh,
2023. With
yeah,
all the Me Too, everyone is talking. We have a
yeah.
lot of female founders. We talk about it. 2012, I
Mhm.
was the only
Right.
female CEO.
So you're really pushing against the grain, the
Yeah, it's
status
just that
quo.
I don't even think about it. Whatever.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
my mother raised me that if my brothers can do it, I can do it. Like, I don't even think about it.
yeah.
Yes, I became a mother. Yes, I do have more like
Mhm.
challenges that men, because this is how it goes and this is nature. But, you know, it's fine.
Well, you all have obviously been, really successful in doing that. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Um, so let's talk more about this. So it sounds like the folks that you were recruiting into your startup were mostly college graduates, or at least in the beginning, the first batch of folks, or is that,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
okay.
So, but then,
Well, what
especially.
was that like? Yeah, yeah. Did you ever bring in senior people? Like,
Yes, I have to tell you that I brought in senior people from outside that the
Mhm.
resume was impressive and I fired them
Oh
because they
man,
didn't even understand the DNA and the
yeah.
culture of the company. And sometimes we don't even understand that below our nose we have the best employees that you can actually promote them.
Hmm.
But it's weird to promote them because they're so young and they just started a few years ago with me. So all of a sudden they'll become a VP like within 3 years. I worked 10, 12 years to become like a manager.
Yeah.
But this is the world. It's changing. It's not like in the 80s or 90s that you used to work at Google, like in Cisco or Elbit or Intel. I don't know all these like
Hmm.
top corporate based in Israel back then, and you worked your up the ladder, and it took you 20, 25 years to become in the startup world. After a year, 2 years, 3 years,
Yeah.
up, boom, you're a VP. So I had to adapt. I had to
Mhm.
adapt, and especially in the R&D section, there are a lot of the engineers are better when they have experience, and they have been engineers since they were 12, 13, 14, and it doesn't matter if they go to school or not.
Yeah.
And also in Israel, you have the Israeli army, the IDF, and you have a lot of different computer science unit that
Okay.
they learned so much. So I hired from that unit, so I didn't care about degrees. But let's summarize it. It all depends on your personality and who you are, and with the background that you were raised into. And the reason that I mentioned that I'm an immigrant, it's because I worked a lot to get where I'm at here.
Absolutely.
Although I went to private school, I didn't have any networking on any connection, investment banking, Wall Street, like all my other friends in school that their uncle and aunt and everyone used to be a banker and they had a lot. I needed to build it by myself.
Yeah.
Um, and it's different.
Yeah, that's definitely the immigrant spirit, right? We have to kind of
Yes.
outwork our surroundings to just
Yeah.
make place for ourselves.
Yeah.
Um, I want to go back to hiring the best people, because you made an interesting comment, which is that you hired, folks that looked amazing on the resume, that were executives at other companies potentially, and they didn't pan out. And I've seen some experiences like that in some of the companies that I've been a part of, that the folks with flashy resumes and the buzzwords in the meetings don't always actually execute. They kind of like they're kind of past their execution hump of like
Yeah.
and so I agree that there's probably a lot of like untapped and prime potential in folks that are coming out of college, because they're smart and they have energy, which is another thing, and they haven't been like jaded yet by corporate politics, and they haven't like
Yeah.
adapted to any bad habits from previous companies or anything like that, right? So it's almost like molding folks. So that's really would you agree to that statement? Would that be almost like a recommendation for anybody?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. That's why when somebody calls me and said, listen, I met this amazing
Mhm.
girl, guy, whatever, I want you to meet with her or him. I'm like, sure, because they
Mm.
already know the typecast, what I like.
Mhm. Right.
So it doesn't matter if they send me the resume. It's good, you need it because it's like ID to go
Mhm.
into a club.
Yeah,
But to meet people, it's your personality. To talk to other people, to mingle, whatever, you take it from there.
for
Opening
sure.
doors, yes, resumes open. Like,
Mhm.
unfortunately, it's still working. I guess it will change. I have no idea how, because this is not my industry. So I never research about it and never
Okay.
thought about it more broadly. But but people also say that universities will change and all the
Mhm.
education and all the aspect of going to college at the age of 18 here will change. And so I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot of that will change.
Yeah.
At least for the resume piece, I wonder about portfolios. I mean, do you look at people's portfolios? That's
Yes.
that's what I look at.
Yes. Like in the UI UX
Mhm.
industry, yes. R&D also, yes. You can see, you can
Yeah,
look at the code. But business and this, it's more. I'll tell you a story.
yeah.
I hired one. I hired an account manager from a bachelorette party. Okay, I
Okay.
went to a bachelorette party. She was her friend from Texas. It was in Israel. And at the end of the bachelorette party, I told her, "Listen, are you looking for a job? Because we had a lot of different games this
Mhm.
weekend, and I loved the way how she acted and was a leader, and she started working with me a month or 2 months after. I brought her to an interview with the HR and everything, but I said, okay, this is the personality that they want, and she's been with me until the company was sold. It's
That's cool. No, I like it. I think you've got to be able to be friends. I believe in that, at least. I know not everybody believes in that, but I'd rather if we're spending in a startup, it's not even 8 hours a day, it's 12
Yeah.
hours a day. It's, constantly thinking about your
Yes.
team, and the company is 24/7. So I'd rather be thinking and working with people that I like, as
100%.
friends, so that, that's to me, that's a requirement. Like, our values have to align. We have to, kind of have similar,
Yeah.
uh, a vibe.
DNA is important.
Yep.
DNA of a company, culture
Mhm.
and DNA,
Yeah.
super important.
Awesome. Well, that was a great discussion on the business lesson. Let's take a moment for, our moment of gratitude. What are you feeling grateful for today?
So, first of all, I'm grateful for America that allowed me to become a citizen last week.
Woohoo.
I think that I'm very lucky and privileged that they gave me that like the government, the country.
Mhm.
I don't know were they, but gave me the opportunity to do that. That's one thing. I'm super grateful for my family and Las Vegas that we moved here and my kids go to school. We like our neighbors. We like the neighborhood. We like the environment. I'm super, super, super happy for Las Vegas City for City of Las Vegas that allowed us to move here and accept us. Um, and of course, to my founders and partners for my company now, that only three people, not a lot of resources. We build an amazing technology that we're going to implement, as you said, to like different nonprofit organization and clubs and schools. We're working with this Clark County also to implement it to middle school and high school, and now with all the movement of like financial literacy in high school, the teenagers need to graduate with financial literacy. The teachers only teach them, and
Mhm.
teenagers, when you teach them, they don't even observe. Maybe they observe, but they don't understand, or they understand and they don't observe. And with our technology, they can actually build a business, get paid, manage it, save the money. And I'm very, very, very grateful for that.
That's incredible. Yeah, I'm really excited. I know, Rico, his
Yes,
mom was telling me that they're going to the Juneteenth festival this Saturday, and they're
yes.
going to be using the app. And so that's great to,
You know that I'm also going to St. Louis next week because of him.
That's awesome, awesome. YBK, Nationally Young
Yes,
Business Kids, that's
yes,
exciting. Well,
yes.
have fun. That's gonna be great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing, what you're grateful for. Our life lesson today is not stopping at no, and I'd love for you to open that up as well.
So I have, again, if you remember, I told you that one of the things that I ask during interview, it's like, tell me a story where how you turn no to a yes.
Mhm,
And I really think that it depends. I really think it shows few things. First, it shows that you're very resourceful. Then it shows that you're very creative because you find a solution. Uh, Third, you didn't learn about it. You needed to come up based on the abilities and capabilities that you have around you. You change something. So I'll tell you the truth. Like when I graduated Brandeis University, I wanted to graduate in 3 years and not in 4 years. They told me I'm not allowed because I had
mhm.
like a sport academic scholarship. I don't know. And I said, "What do you mean I'm not allowed?" I learned everything how to go to the committee and convince them that I can do it. So I went and I did it. And I was like, "But your English is second language. How are you going to do it? Don't worry, I'll do it." I did it. I worked a lot during my weekend. I took
Yep,
summer classes and I made it happen. Also, with my green card thing, we needed to sell the company. I needed to change my visa to a green card. I got a green card within 14 days. And then they told me, "But now you need to wait for 6 months." I was like, "Well, I cannot wait for 6 months." Not a problem. I went to the congresswoman office, knock on her door, introduced myself to the assistant. The assistant worked the plan with me and helped me. And within 2 months, I got a green card.
that's
So
incredible.
I have a lot of things that people say, "Okay, you cannot do it." But even like last week, okay, I had the interview for the citizenship, and then it takes like 3 or 4 weeks until you get the ceremony invitation, and my husband
Mhm.
was next week. And I said, listen, my husband is next week. No way, you need to wait. I was like, it's okay, just. And then I started to convince her why she should uh, try it out. Try, why not? She told me, okay, I understand. In 15 minutes she came back, okay, you can go next week. So I just say that, don't accept a no. Worst comes to worst, the answer will stay no, but
Yeah.
try.
Hmm.
That's why I always walk, if I see celebrity, okay? Even like Bruce Jenner, that now it's now her name is Caitlyn, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
Caitlyn
I
Jenner.
saw him or her like a few years ago. I admire him as a track and field runner. I admired him. He was my idol, Olympic champ. I ran and I talked to him, and I'm just, yes, I'm afraid like everyone else, but I just do it because if I
Hmm.
what my other option, and that's how I try to teach my kids. You want to do something, do it as long as you keep it legal, and and it doesn't hurt that you're surrounded, the people around you. Then
Yeah.
try.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Chan.
No, I didn't.
Oh yeah, yeah, no, that's great. So it reminds me of a story my mom always told me growing up, and it was, you've already got to know in your pocket you might get a yes, so just look
Exactly.
for it. And as I've like grown older, I recognize all of these rules have just been made by other humans, and sometimes arbitrarily, right? We don't
Yes,
even know why some of these rules are being followed, and so um
love
I
it.
think I think it's a really big part, and the other flashback there was, folks always followed the rules. If people always took the no at face value, then Rosa Parks wouldn't have done what she did, and so many other civil rights leaders or leaders in our history books wouldn't have done what they did, because what they did essentially was society's telling them no, but that no doesn't make sense to who they are truly in their spirit, and so they're going to find a way to change that no into a yes. And I think that's something that's really powerful about us as humans, and I think that's the difference between like go-getters and people that aren't really go-getters, or people who maybe feel like they're victims of life, because every time they hear no they kind of just stop and they quit. But it's really important to just push past those barriers.
I know. I know. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. What is there any kind of book or advice or YouTube video or anything like that that talks about this in more depth, that people can go listen to or read later if they're struggling with how to overcome objections in their life?
So I don't know about that, but I read two books recently.
Hmm.
Actually, it's like two. One of them, she's a friend. Her name is Donna Griffith, and she wrote a book about storytelling. She's a storyteller. She helped entrepreneurs to rewrite their story and have it more appealing for investors. So she wrote a book, and I loved it. And the second one, do you know Waze, the
Hmm.
company Waze? So one of the founders, his name, it's an Israeli startup, Israeli founders. One of the founder, his name is Uri Levin, and he wrote a book that it's called "Fall in Love with the Problem." So it's interesting for entrepreneurs, new entrepreneurs, for example, to read about it, to make sure whenever you fall in love with the problem or the solution, if you are in the right path, maybe it will help you to choose how to move forward. But those are two books that I recently read that just helped me to think about different perspective.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. We're gonna cut this interview up into a bunch of small videos, so I'll make sure that snippet comes out and we can promote those books, for people
Amazing.
that need that.
Amazing. Great.
Chen, this has been a great conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any final notes you want to leave us with?
Um, no, I think that the two things is like hire the right employees around you,
Yep.
and surround yourself with people that turns no to a yes, and also become one of them. And you can train it. You can train. It's not something that you're born with. You can actually keep telling yourself, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. You don't have to be born like that.
I love it. Yeah, rewire your thoughts.
Yeah.
What a great way to end the show. Chen, thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.